When you notice that you're beating yourself up, what meaning do you give that? Do you automatically assume that it's proof that you suck? Or do you question the things that you're telling yourself? Beating yourself up isn't a sign that there's something wrong with you. It simply means you've gotten stuck in your head. You're listening to Pure Light, where we explore how to become the highest version of yourself so that you feel worthy of your craziest dreams and confident in your power to make them happen. My name is Ailey. I'm a coach, writer, and a Kundalini yoga and meditation teacher. This is episode 64. So after the last episode in which I shared a tool to help stop negative self-talk, I realized I wanted to dig into this a little bit deeper because I was talking to someone who said it was so incredibly useful to write out all the things that the mean voice inside her head was telling her because it helped her see that it wasn't her. It was something separate from her. And when that voice is strong, it's hard to distinguish it from who you are because it feels like the truth of who you are. But it's not. It's the voice of self-doubt. Never confuse the voice of self-doubt with the truth of who you are. When I was a workaholic trying to make it up the corporate ladder as quickly as possible, I would beat myself up constantly to the point where I barely even noticed it anymore because it was so normal for me. It just felt like that was me. And I felt like shit about myself most of the time because of that. Like I would get into negative thinking spirals pretty often. And when I got into yoga, I learned two very important things. One was how to breathe, and the other one was how to focus my attention. So eventually, after learning to do that in class, I realized that I could do that in my life. I started to catch myself earlier and earlier each time a negative thinking spiral happened. So when it happened, I would start to breathe deeply and focus on feeling my body, so fully experiencing whatever sensations there were in it. And initially that was really hard to do because my habit of allowing the spirals to get out of control was so strong and it was so deeply embedded. And on top of that, the sensations that I would feel when that was happening were usually not positive. It wasn't something that I really wanted to feel. It was stuff that I had basically been avoiding feeling because I wasn't comfortable facing it. But I realized somehow that if I didn't do this, if I didn't kind of face that discomfort and shift my attention, I would just keep going down the same path of beating myself up. So over time, as I kept catching myself earlier and earlier, my negative thinking spirals became less and less intense. And now it's at the point where I honestly can't remember the last time I had one. And I think learning how to do this, so how to shift my attention when the spirals happened, is ultimately what allowed me to accept myself. Because when that was like a really strong pattern for me, there was no path for acceptance because I believed what was going on inside my head during those spirals. So when you're beating yourself up, it's hard to see that you have a choice about what to make that mean because you get so caught up in it and it so easily snowballs out of control. The default meaning for most people when they notice that they're beating themselves up is that all the stuff that they're telling themselves is true. So all those negative thoughts are the truth, all those horrible things that you're saying to yourself. But that's just one interpretation. And it's the one that's usually done automatically and unconsciously, which is why it can be so dangerous. So another way to interpret beating yourself up is to see it as a sign that you've gotten stuck in your head. That's what it really means when you beat yourself up. It means that you've gotten stuck in your head. It doesn't mean that you have to entertain or believe any of the things you've been telling yourself. It definitely does not mean that you suck or that there's something wrong with you. So it may seem like a bad thing in some sense when you catch yourself beating yourself up because it feels bad. But here's the thing. It's actually a good thing when you catch yourself beating yourself up because it means you're no longer unconsciously doing that. You're conscious to the fact that it's happening. So there's some awareness of what's going on. And at that point, you have a choice. So you can either keep listening to that voice and go down the spiral, or you can do something to get out of your head. So it can be something as simple as 3 deep conscious breaths where you're focusing on the breath coming in and out of the body and all of the sensations associated with that. So feeling it underneath the nose, in the chest, in the belly, wherever you can feel it. Or you could also choose to focus on being in your body. So noticing your feet on the ground and feeling the energy and aliveness in your toes, your feet, your legs, your entire body. You could also start with the fingers and the hands and tune into the sensations there. Or you could really start with whatever part of the body is easiest for you to focus on and really feel into. So the hands, the feet, maybe the heart, or the belly if you can feel the breath there. And then just let your attention rest there and be anchored there. And take a few deep breaths. So the next time that you catch yourself beating yourself up, remember that it isn't a sign that you suck. It's just a sign that you've gotten stuck in your head. And as soon as you realize that you're doing that, you have a choice. You can keep going down that path and entertaining those thoughts, or do something to get out of your head. And you can also do something proactively as a practice, like as a regular habit or thing to help you get out of your head. So whether that's yoga or meditation or breath work or some kind of mind-body connected activity, anything like that will help you get back into the present moment as opposed to getting caught up in thought. So all of them will be very helpful for this kind of thing. If you want help with questioning the things that you tell yourself when you beat yourself up, go back and do the exercise from the last episode, episode 63. And if you enjoyed this and want more perspectives to help you fall in love with yourself, subscribe to Pure Light wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a review to help other people find it. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, may you be guided by your light.